Sounds good. Yeah.
Are you ready?
Yeah.
Okay. Hey, what's going on, guys? It's Eugene Honrath from Shadow Warriors, and I've got PTK or Paul Kilby from Kilby Knives. How are you, man?
All right, man. How you doing?
I'm doing good, man. I'm doing good. It's we here in Florida are about to, it's the beginning of August. We're about to start, school starts on Tuesday.
Wow, that seems early.
Yeah, yes. It's what we do. We always start or it's around the 10th, and it's always the Tuesday around the 10th. I don't know where that came from. But that's this month. So that today is Wednesday. That is this Tuesday coming up.
So to sidetrack a little bit with the boom of the new variant, does that impact you guys?
No, it doesn't.
Okay.
I mean, no, it doesn't. It doesn't. I
Okay.
mean, we all the past year and a half has been. I've got a slightly unique take on the past year and a half or COVID in general because I'm part owner of a company that's in the health and wellness field.
Mhm.
But one of the things we do is we administer vaccinations. So I effectively last year, when this all started happening, in February, we got off of a cruise, and then we had heard rumblings in that there was something going on.
Yeah.
Obviously, when then President Trump at the end of the month closed down on the 27th or something, but we had heard some stuff in January, but we still felt it was okay to go on the cruise. And then when we got back, I effectively had to become the expert. Not saying that I am a expert, but I had to become the expert at
Right.
our company in reference to COVID. So I've learned a lot about it. Last year, we went instead of starting on the 10th or around the 10th, we started 2 weeks into September. When we went back, you had the option to do 3 different things: in person, virtual with your school, or what's called Florida virtual. My daughter wore masks the whole entire time, which I think is I mean, it's a futile experiment or idea to get children to wear masks
Yes.
on a regular basis through school.
Yes.
Like if you went to host or something after school, or I mean, it's Florida.
Right.
It's still kind of hot
Yeah.
for the beginning of school and the end of school, and these kids were having to wear masks outside, and so that's the only thing that's really changed with the Delta variant, or whatever's going on now. I think that's a combo of a couple things, not only being summer, but also we've had a huge influx of people moving here.
Right. Yeah.
An insane amount of people have moved here. And I can tell you that just on a Tampa personal level that we've seen that.
Yeah.
So I think that there's a couple things going on, but I think it hasn't really affected anything. Masks are optional.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
That's cool. I sorry to sidetrack you. I just I thought
no,
I'd ask.
it's an interesting thing, and I always say people want to pigeon in the conversation about COVID. Most people want to pigeonhole you into only talking about one thing, when there's actually a lot of things going on. Not only, it's not just a vaccination or not vaccination or not vaccinated. It's not just a wear a mask or don't wear a mask. There's a lot of things in the conversation, and I love having the conversation because I've learned a lot about it. But most people, especially on Facebook, they want to try to get a rouse out of you or something. Or Twitter, or any social media thing.
Right.
How have you guys been affected with COVID and all that?
So when I was in IT last March 2019, they shut down the office, which our campus involves 6 buildings.
Okay.
Huge buildings, from 4 floors up to 6 floors.
Yep.
several thousand people on campus. It's like a college campus almost. The buildings are connected and all, but they shut it down and told us to work remotely. So at that time, I'm the type of person I need that routine of leaving the house and going somewhere. Yes.
Yep.
Otherwise, that line grays my work line, and it goes with knives. Thank God I don't have my shop at my house, because I'd have that very gray line, and I cross it now, and we'll get into that here in a little bit. But I would always be in the shop, and that's not fair, right?
Sure.
Not fair to my family, my wife.
It's being a business owner or having that freedom, even, and I think that it does come up in the conversation of working at home, is a blessing and a curse, right?
Mhm.
So it's one of those things, like, you literally can do whatever you want.
Yeah.
But you literally can do whatever you want.
Exactly. Yeah.
So
So the shop I'm in has some offices, and actually in that time I had me and Chris Elliott from Yellow Day Energy, we purchased the building.
oh, okay.
So it's a big industrial building, 14,000 square feet, but it has a couple offices. Chris is going to have one once the restrictions get lifted and he can get down here.
Yep.
And I took one and actually put in business class, and I would come down here every day, sit and work, attend my meetings. And I didn't do, okay, I'm at the shop, let me go in and work on a knife, why they think I'm working. Just because there's so many accidents that may happen while you're working on a knife. And how am I going to explain it to my employer? Hey, I'm at the ER because I got a knife in me. Or
yeah.
So it just wasn't worth it. I love my job that I had there. And
What did you so what did you do in the IT space?
Scrum Master, software tester.
Okay. What's a scrum
Anything.
for those who don't know what a scrum master is? What is that?
So it's like a project manager,
Gotcha.
but you deal in smaller chunks. So you're looking at a 4-week chunk versus a 3-month amount of work, and you're trying to get it all done. And now they're releasing that software within that same week.
Gotcha.
So
nice.
Yeah, a cat herder.
I know about that because my wife works for Nielsen Media, and she's a project manager, so she has a couple of the certifications. And one of the things that they did was, at the beginning of COVID, they closed down too, but they only kept critical staff. So they went from probably a couple thousand to like 10 people to run some of their infrastructure stuff there at the facility, because this is like it's a really unique building. It's right here, right outside of Tampa, in what's called Oldmar. And it's like the bottom floor can be washed away. And like it has all these crazy backup generators and systems in place. And they needed people to be there. They just opened the office back up on a temporary basis, or they are about to here coming up soon. And they've been closed well over a year.
Yeah, same. I think they opened up on, if you have to come into the office, you can. Otherwise, work from home. Currently, so they've been doing that since 2019 March, when they shut down. So.
Oh, gotcha. Well, so tell me about Kilby Knives. Tell me where you're located at, and tell me what you guys do.
Okay, Kilby Knives. I started it in 2016.
Okay.
Located in Miamisburg, Ohio. That's just south of Dayton, Ohio, in between Dayton and Cincinnati.
Okay.
Right on 75. And we make fixed blades. We make flippers. Whole host of things. Starting to get into CNC work. So some of the knives now, you'll start seeing a more refined, cleaner look, because it's you can do wild stuff with a CNC. So I didn't get the CNC per se for knives. I got it for a different avenue of income.
Okay.
To just diversify my portfolio and kind of bring in money different directions for when things go slow in certain areas. So I've
That's
been
a good
doing it.
idea.
Yeah. These times, you have to.
Well, I think that it's, and I've talked to some other more established knife makers that have that equipment that are doing that. And my thing is you're investing in the equipment, even if it's just a grinder, all the way up to CNC and laser and water jet and all that kind of stuff. Unless you're really producing a ton of knives, you're like under your brand or yourself, those machines are made for much more capacity generally. And why not have, even if it's just something like local machining, or other knives or
Other
tools
makers.
or thing like that for other makers, why not help other people out and supplement your income?
Yes, exactly. And that's what I'm trying to do.
Nice.
Since leaving the IT, and I had 33 and a half years in there, I just want to be my own boss. I'm to the age where I don't want to hear somebody tell me what to do.
Yep.
Except my wife. Sorry, Janelle. And yeah, I know. And we're right now, we're in we're in life right now where our kids are grown.
Sure.
So, and financially, due to investments and this and that, we can let this roll and see how it goes.
I like it.
If you look like I don't know if you've ever heard of him, John Saunders from Saunders Metalworks. He's out of Zanesville, Ohio, but he makes a lot of fixtures for CNC and mills and stuff.
Okay.
I took a class up there this last fall, and he just doesn't do that. He's into real estate. He's into multiple avenues as far as business wise. That way, he has different avenues of money coming in in case something goes slow. So,
I mean, it's always good to have different sources of revenue within your company or within your life in general. I think that that's where you've seen people really be successful and have generational wealth. They're not just, you should concentrate on one thing and make that be your specialty, but they have other sources of income, whether it's real estate, whether it's using the machines that you currently have. It's kind of funny that you're up there with, do you know who Elsie Dunwoody is from EWD Designs?
No.
So he is like, they have a machine shop that does a low tolerance, like very specific CNC machining for Siemens and military applications and stuff. And he's right outside of Columbus.
Okay.
And if you ever need help, reach out to him. I'll send you his information. He'll geek out and talk about CNC machining like all day long. He thinks it's one of the, unfortunately, it's a dying art.
It is. I mean, we've seen that with manufacturing here in the States and not being able to get certain things, chips for your cars to start and stuff like that. I could go on and on. But I think you're seeing this come back, but at a slow rate.
Sure.
And I think it will be the smaller shops. You're not going to see a Chrysler or a GM that does that anymore. They're going to farm it out. And I mean, it's just like IT. You can't justify the brick and mortar anymore because you spent millions of dollars just to have those buildings, the maintenance, the lawn care, everything.
Yep.
On top of taxes, property taxes. So I think you're going to see the smaller businesses kind of thrive a little bit more and maybe stay busier than the larger businesses. And that's very cool.
His shop is insanely busy right now. Like he could literally sleep there and work 24 hours a day. They are so busy. But he's a knife guy. He's a knife guy. He's helped out some other makers with some knife stuff. And he loves it. He doesn't necessarily, I won't say that he's also a businessman.
Yes.
So he's been he hasn't really, and he had, like I said, he has all of the machines to do literally anything you can imagine. And he just hasn't, he's made he's coming out with a fixed blade that is 100% CNC machine. He also makes pistol 45 pistol grips.
Yeah.
But he sees it as like, come on guys, like you need to start like working out
That's
your
awesome.
processes and you know, don't just
Yeah.
kind of throw stuff together in terms of knives. But yeah, he'll geek out at any point. Well, so tell me how did you get into making custom knives or knives in general, like even before 2016? Because I'll assume before you had a shop,
Yeah.
you did it on the side or something.
It started early. It started back when I still am an admin for Rob Bapty, the Hate Dust Project.
Okay.
Blade Show was coming up. I was a collector. Everybody that's an admin for Rob absolutely loves EDC, of course.
Yep.
And I was like, hey, why don't we all make a knife? And each one of us could find that maker that would put it on their table and auction it off. And that money would go to Hate. I think out of the 6 of us, 3 of us did it. I went to Jim Coffey and asked Jim and Jim Coffey Knives. He's a journey smith. He's the one. He's my mentor. He's the one that got me going in this. So I asked him. I said, "Can you do us some blanks or anything and get us going on this?" He's like, "Sure, I'll be happy to donate it." You know, he's been part of Hate, supported Rob off and on throughout the years. So I started. He sent it to me, and I'm like, okay. And I said, well, I want to do dovetail bolsters. He's like, you've never made a knife. I'm like, I don't know. I'm gonna try it. He goes, okay. And my 4x36 with the round disc on the side and everything else, and some files, and I did it. I actually, so Paul D. Ritter won the auction, and instead of him taking the knife, he told me to keep it.
Yeah.
So I have it. It will never leave.
Do you have it right now?
Yeah.
Let me see.
All right. Let me see. It's in here. All right. It's rough looking, but all right. So this is Buckeye Burl. This is copper bolsters, dovetailed, and then I did file work on it.
Jesus.
So it's what got me going into this. It's bulky, it's big, but for what started it all was this one right here, and did red liners. I don't know. There's something about
how did you get the red liners to go in with the?
So I didn't do red liners up here. This is actually in the file work.
Yeah.
That's red. I did red pigment in the epoxy.
Oh, okay. I was gonna say,
And then I did a mosaic pin in the lanyard hole. I'm not a big lanyard fan, so I thought I'd cover it up, and I could tear this to pieces. I'm telling you.
Sure.
Yeah, you look, and Jim actually did the bevel. So Jim did the bevel, and he treated it, and we put it together however we wanted and sharpened it.
That's awesome. That's how much money did your 3 knives raise?
Well, I know that one raised over $600. The winner paid over I believe it was over $600 for that.
Well, that's pretty interesting, and he let you keep it.
Yeah.
That's a story, man.
So there's a story behind that too. So Paul lives in Texas.
Okay.
And when I decided after this I was going to make knives, the next blade I went and put money down, or maybe it was this blade. I put money down on a grinder, and I got back and we were talking through Messenger. There's like 3 or 4 of us in there, and I said I put money down on the grinder, and next thing I know, Paul messaged me and says, go pick up your grinder. So he brought in the money. I paid him back. I said, this is way too big of a gift. I can't,
Yeah,
it's not a $600 knife. So within a year, I had him paid off.
that's awesome.
Yeah. There's another, someone else really helped me out get going was Cliff James. He's an admin for Hate. We were talking and I said, man, I really want to get into making knives. Actually wanted to start making folders, but Jim Coffey said, don't do it. Learn how to make a knife. Learn how to make that fixed blade before you go into messing. Now, I know there's people out there that's done it. I'm glad I listened to them and did that route. It worked for me. Not saying it's going to work for everybody, but it worked for me. But Cliff and I were talking, and I said, man, once I start making folders, I'm going to have a mill. We were talking about it. And next thing I know, he's like, we hang up, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I need to text him. Don't even think about it. And he goes, I had to be there Wednesday. So, I mean, there's stories all through EDC and knife makers that people believe, and I've always said this, it's not the knife maker that makes the knife, it's the knife maker makes the knife. So I'm saying, you make it desirable, you make it where people want to support you, right?
Sure.
There's people I'm very humble when people want to buy a knife from me, because that's expensive item, and for them to spend their hard-earned money, which it's tough for me to go out and buy custom knives. I mean, there's a select, I pick the maker that's actually done something for me, or we just have that connection, and
Yeah.
I know they would do anything for me.
Yeah,
and
I need that. It's how good so it's a positive and negative thing that is kind of shaped that connection thing for me is I've seen makers just not care about customers, do shoddy work and the myriad of negative things. But on the positive side, the knife community in general, or specifically, has gotten me through a lot of things, specifically Shadow Warriors.
Yep.
So today I have a really hard time buying a knife from someone that either I don't know or don't have some kind of connection to, because what happens is I buy a knife and then I really like it. So I show it, I tell it, I use it, and I end up recommending that person. And if I don't have a connection with that person, and I don't need to be like friends with the person, but I need to at least know them and that they're a good person and that kind of stuff. I just like, I have some knives in my collection that I'm just like, I don't anymore, but I have had knives in my collection. I was like, I gotta get rid of this knife. That guy is an asshole. And I just like literally
I've done that.
And I can't use the knife.
Yeah, I was going to throw it in the river just because of what happened with this maker. And I'm like, I ended up giving it to either I'm going to throw it in the river or somebody take it, because I don't want it. It's just a bad aura. And every time I look at it, I would think negative thoughts. So let's just get rid of it.
Yeah, I don't.
But it's the maker that makes the knife.
It is. And the community is pretty awesome. And I think that the community in general, in terms of and this is like always the word that these are the words that kind of like, it's production, it's mid-tech, and it's custom knives. I think knives that are in smaller production, and then up to custom knives, I think that segment, even the knife world in general, I think that segment has a lot of potential for growth. There are a lot of people out there who are buying $1,000, $2,000, $3,000, $5,000 ARs who have this knife in their pocket.
Yeah, buck 110.
Nothing. Well, this is the 112, but
oh, is it?
Yeah, it looks a little bit bigger than this, but nothing wrong with this knife. But in their mind, they're buying custom ARs they would love to have a custom knife on their pot, and they don't, in their brain, they don't even know that that market's out there. So I think based on that fact, and that either people don't carry knives, I think there's a lot of growth in the knife world. But it's always like cording itself off. It
Right.
hasn't really tried to get new people in new blood, new energy into buying knives, a little bit at a time, but not big. I think that there's a lot of growth out there. So you made that first knife, and
Yeah.
you just started making knives.
So yeah, at that point I was like all in. I located a place. My dad stored his boat at a RV storage place, and they actually had a barn where him and four of his buddies were in it, and they had a little hallway. It was a 6 foot by 25 foot hallway.
Okay.
That was my shop. So, yeah, that was $35 a month.
Nice.
So, I mean, expenses were low, and yeah. So I have a dirty room where all my grinders are, and
Okay.
air filtration system is. Just making folders now, you want the area as clean as you can get it.
Sure.
So I have everything in a separate room, and that's identical footprint of my first shop. It's like 6 foot wide and 25 long,
And what year was that?
that was 2016.
Okay.
And then they sold that property to I ain't gonna get into it, but someone that I didn't want to associate with. So I said, I'm out, even though it's $35. I know I'm gonna have to pay more. And I've always worked 2 or 3 multiple jobs, at a time, along, 2 jobs with my full-time job. And I remember someone that was buying and selling stuff from store locks that they would purchase. They bring it into this big warehouse, and so I contacted him, and he's like, "No, that I didn't own." He didn't own the building, but he was getting me in touch with the person. The guy, came. He called me, and he goes, "I hear you're looking for space." I said, "Before you even say you can do it, you need to come in here and see if what I'm doing works for you."
Sure.
And then we'll determine if you have something I can jump into. And great guy. He's the one I bought the building. Me and Chris bought the building off of. Been in here for, I think, 4 years now.
Okay.
Yeah, and started with, price went up. Price went up a lot, 10 times more. I mean, it went from $35 to $300, and then and I kept, I kind of built a wall in this area, and I was like, well, I need more room. I need to get these grinders out of here. So he, tag $50 on there, tag another $50 on, and now I'm, my shop is about, I don't know, somewhere around 1,500 square feet.
Hey, that's pretty big.
Yeah, I mean, I never, and when I said I was going to start making knives, and my dad's, I'm showing him a fixed blade, and I'm like, yeah, I'm thinking about $275, $300. He's like, you're not going to do this. It's not going to work. He goes, why would people do that when they could go down to Walmart and buy it? I said, Dad, why would you order a custom car? I mean,
yeah, custom car, custom gun, custom, just about
everything. Yeah. So now he's like, it's unbelievable. He goes, I never thought you'd do this nice of work on folders.
Thanks, Dad. Thanks.
Well, he knows so it wasn't just IT that I've been in all my life. I've worked machine shops. I've did welding, painting,
okay,
blue collar. So when I first made that first knife, dude, when I look at it, it was like almost when I was running, it was like a high. You get that runner's high.
Yep.
And I'm looking at that knife, and it's like, I did that. I can't believe it. So my knife making, I do stock removal,
Right.
I have yet to forge a knife. And that's coming because Jim Coffey, my mentor, a couple weeks ago came in to learn how to make folders, which is how full circle is that? So he asked me to help him make folders, which, you know, who helped me make folders? Kirk Mayberry. He brought me down to Tennessee. I drove down to Tennessee, spent the weekend with him. I
Really?
would not be where I'm at on folders if not for Kirk. So when Jim asked me at Blade, he goes, you know, I've been making fixed blades forever, kind of bored. I need you to go shopping with me. I want to start making. So him and Dave Kelly came down. Dave Kelly's from Tennessee. Jim Coffey's up in Northern Ohio. They came down for 2 days, and we came in here at 8 a.m. and didn't leave till 9 p.m. on the first day. The second day, they actually got out of here about 2 or 3. But they left here with a working chassis and a huge grocery list of what they needed. So that is very humbling, and I at least think, or I hope I did, gave him direction to where he can do awesome work. I know his stuff will be mind blowing because he does great fixed blades.
Yeah,
So
it's not always a one-to-one, but I think that if you have the attention to detail
yeah,
to make a superb fixed blade,
yeah,
that the attention to detail that you need in folders,
yeah, yeah.
it's
I agree.
it's helpful.
So
So do you do so these guys were, you know, in your life and they asked for help, just and you gave them help like others gave you help. Do you do classes on either
so
fixed
that's
or folders or?
so the fixed. I want to start this month, and I have a couple people that hit me up, and I mentioned it on one of my live feeds. I'm going to do you build, you buy. So you come in here, 2 people. Um, you you build your knife. You grind it. You use me. I'll be there. You get my time from all day Saturday, all day Sunday. I'll bring like breakfast and lunch, and you're on your own on dinner. Um, but there's a lot of makers. There's a niche there, and I don't want to get it to where I have to do this every weekend, every month. You know, I want to do this 1 weekend a month or 2 weekends a month. I enjoy it because I get and maybe I'm getting the next knife maker started. I don't know.
Are you gonna allow anyone, or you just kind of hinted that you just wanted knife makers, or does it like
No, not knife makers. This non-knife makers.
non-knife makers? Oh, okay. So just
These are the
like,
collector that wants to make their own. Have it on
okay.
the in their.
Have you thought about what pricing is going to be? And I'm not gonna. You don't
Yeah.
have to. You don't have to announce it right now. But
No, yeah. I have kicked it around a little bit. I mean, because you get all the equipment, you get all the supplies, you get myself. I mean, so it gets a little weird. Okay, you could buy one from me for, you know, $300 fixed blade or whatever, depending on what it is and the materials, and then or you could come in here and buy one or build and buy it for a whole weekend for $800. I haven't nailed that down yet, but
well, because your consumables, your
yes,
time, your machine, the
yeah,
lights, you know,
yeah.
those things cost. I mean,
Oh yeah,
I,
and time.
and time.
Yeah, and you figure your time. If you watch anybody talk about craftsmanship and what your time should start at $50 an hour, $50 an hour. Now, are makers charging that? No,
No,
you can't. I mean,
no. I think it's I think, you know, I think it's you got to feel. I always say this, right? And I had a call earlier. I said, in a relationship, everyone's got to feel like they got something out of it, right? So you're creating an unbelievable experience where guys can come learn. You might have to help some more than others. But they're leaving with something that is like pretty phenomenal.
Unique.
I went
Unique.
two 2 years ago, Blade. Last time I was at Blade, well, it would be 3 years now.
Yeah.
Last time I was
I
at
got
Blade.
a picture with you there.
Yep. Absolutely. So when I was at Blade, then Justin Godby, who is Sassafras Forge, he does all fixed blades. He has a shop behind his house in, I think, Marietta, and me and my two brothers went there, and we did a variety of different things, but we forged some knives. I forged a knife. We did some stock removal, and that experience is literally priceless.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because you came in, not just that it was my brother's, but that was priceless within itself, but with nothing, and then left. Well, he did some finishing work afterwards, but you left with a knife, and I'll cherish those knives
and that time
forever.
And that time with
And the time. Oh yeah, absolutely.
It's crazy.
I feel closer to Justin now that I did that than I ever before.
Yeah. So on that same line, yearly, except for last year, due to COVID, of course, and we are going to do it this year, I work with a group called Blue Skies for Good Guys and Gals.
Okay.
They do stuff for Purple Hearts and Gold Star families. So that's
okay.
Gold Star families are someone that's lost a son or daughter or father or mother in a war,
Okay.
or in service. So in past, I've brought what I usually do is do 10 knives, heat treat them, grind them, heat treat them, have scale material sitting out, and say, all right, pick your knife, pick your scale material. There's 3 or 4 guys here that are friends of mine that will help and guide you. We'll glue it up. And one of the most rewarding times was when a guy says, I want to be able to put this knife on my garter. And I'm like, what? He goes, hold on, come on back here. And he takes me in the other room. He drops his pants, and he's got a prosthetic. So his leg, he has a hole in his pocket where he adjusts his garter that to keep it from rubbing him raw.
Yep.
He goes, if I could put a knife on this, then nobody knows I'm carrying a knife. And I'm like, done.
That's awesome.
He was tickled. We still keep in touch.
Oh man,
so
that's awesome that you give back, and you don't charge anything for that, or
no, that's all. That's a day that they get, far as nothing about their disabilities or injuries. They have time with other people going through the same things, bunch of hugs, it's just, and then Blue Skies usually brings in lunch, and it's just I've seen people get acupuncture in my shop.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I mean, we had a medic that was Purple Heart, and he does acupuncture. And one of the guys like, oh man, I have this nerve, and he's like, come on back here, and he sat there and did some acupuncture. It's a rewarding group to be associated with, and makes you. And I'm a veteran, so.
Well, thank you for your service.
Oh, no.
Where did you? What did you serve? Where did you serve?
Army, Desert Storm, Shield, 1990 and 91, Iraq, Kuwait, and Saudi.
Oh, that's awesome.
But I have a wall in my shop, and it's pictures of veterans. I'm up there, my dad, some friends, some guys from Blue Skies. I have flags on there, my grandfather, and it's an honors wall.
Yeah.
There's a Hero Barbecue, I think it is. It's a chain, and if you go in there, they have veterans, first responders all over the wall.
Nice.
And I like seeing that. They don't get enough attention. And I always tell them, doors always open. Got coffee, got water, we lose too many veterans a day. So
we do. And I think that the average public, it's not that I think they just don't, they're ignorant about it. They just don't know to appreciate it. How much goes on outside of our borders. I mean, it goes inside of our borders too, but outside of our borders in terms of how much veterans and military members put their lives on the line and do
Yep.
a lot of work for this country that make a lot of what we do on a daily basis possible.
Yep. Very true.
Yeah.
So I just,
So,
I want to be that. And I've always said this, once knife making is no fun, I'm done.
yeah.
Well, I mean, life is way too short. I enjoy it. I enjoy it so much. I'll tell you a little story here. I'm texting Jim Coffee and saying, and I just left the shop. It was like 11 o'clock at night. I'm at home in my lazy boy. And I'm like, man, I absolutely love making knives. And if I could sleep in my shop, I would. I wouldn't be married. That's the thing, you
Yeah.
know.
Yeah.
But what was funny is I get this text that pop up, and it was my wife. She goes, "Well, since you're running late, I'll just go ahead and sleep here." Oh, I dropped her off at her mom's.
Oh, you were sitting back in your chair.
I thought she was upstairs in bed. I mean, because her car was there. We come back from dinner. She goes, "Just drop me off by mom's. Come and pick me up whenever you're done." And I'm like, "No, I'm on my way." So I take off and go pick her up.
Oh,
Oh,
you're definitely gonna get beat up for that one.
well, she knows it. So we've been married a long time, and she's if it wasn't for her, I wouldn't be doing this either.
Yeah, my grandfather said something to me that was pretty impactful in my 20s, and it kind of, I'm almost pissed about it because it's a blessing and a curse. He said, Gene, that's what they, within the family we have, like, different names for,
Yep.
Big Gene was my
Yeah.
dad and I was little Gene. And he was like, man, he was like, I regret a lot of the work that I've done in my past because I had to do it, because I had to support my family. I just didn't enjoy it. So I went to work every single day and just did work to make money, and I never enjoyed it. He said, if you can do something that you love, even if it's digging ditches, do that. At the end of your life, you will be so much happier and would have enjoyed life so much
Yeah.
more. And it's I feel sorry for the people who and who do that thing that they don't like every day, that they don't find any joy in.
Yeah.
I love working with small businesses. I love this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
I don't know how you just hate your job, you know?
I know people that drive to work and cry. Well, I got my hair cut today and was talking to the lady cut my hair, and we were talking about she loves her job. I said, so do I. I said, I know people that absolutely cry when they go to work.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
I couldn't imagine. I just can't imagine. I don't care. I don't care what I was doing. I would have to definitely stop and reevaluate and move on. Life's way too short.
So tell me about Kilby Knives. We heard you offer fixed blades and folders or folding knives.
Yep.
What are your prices range in terms of the fixed blades, and what
Okay.
materials do you work with?
So shoot. Okay, material's going to be lengthy, but I could go over. I could go over. Let me see. I'm actually getting ready for an open house. Copper Shed's having their open house this weekend.
I know. Don't.
But you know what? There's so many people that have no clue what that means.
I know. No one knows.
You know?
Well, so we're in the EDC community. If you're not really a knife person or you're not really an EDC community, and there's Ryan Forbes, has a company called Copper Shed Knives, and he does, like you would think, a lot of things with copper. But he's also a really cool dude and likes
Awesome.
to be involved. Like, PTK is saying, is involved in the community and the people. And he has it's this weekend, right?
Yes.
So it's the
Meet and greet.
the meet and greet, the Copper Shed meet and greet,
Yeah, I think it's the 7th.
August 7th.
Yeah, Saturday.
Yeah, August 7th. And are you going to it?
I am. I actually the knives. I made 5 folders, 6 little stingers, fixed blades, and I got a couple bird and trouts I'm taking up with me. So it's like a mini show. but it's a show like no other. Yes, like there they are. Those are the fixed blades right there that, or I'm sorry, the flippers that I got together, and you can notice that some of them have the flipper tab, some has thumb stud. I've done both. I've done it where a knife has both of them, a thumb stud plus a flipper tab.
I love that.
Just,
I love that.
just in case somebody doesn't like one or the other, or if they purchase it, they could tell me, hey, grind the flipper tab off. I like the thumb stud.
So, well, we were on fixed blades, but let's go back. Let's go
Okay.
to folders since we're
Sure.
here already. Do you do primarily? Tell me about your folders.
Oh, so this is the bigger ones are the alphas, which are, I don't even know the overall length. Hold on, I'll tell you.
Do you have some right there?
Yeah, right here's
Oh,
one.
then I'll shop sharing. Okay.
This one actually went. I did a waffle for it last night.
Okay.
Guy that actually joined my group, I don't know, 3 weeks ago, a month ago or so, actually got it. So I like seeing new people jumping in and being active, and he's a Marine, I believe. So yeah, he won that. He's going to pick this up today. He's local, so that's kind of nice.
Do you what kind of material? So it sounds like you have a model lineup for
Yep. So
the folders.
This is an alpha.
Okay.
This would be the chub. So that's a smaller one. This
Okay.
is this is a play on the thin red line for firefighters, first responders, and I do a thin blue line also. And I've kind of started having a buddy of mine start Cerakoting the finishes on there, which gives you the options of different colors, which is kind of nice.
For a second there, when you first showed that one, it almost looked like it was like G10 or something.
No, that actually is titanium.
That's awesome.
So let's see what else. And then this one's tie, and then you can tell this one's heavily machined. You can steer steps, or it's tiered with one solid stripe down the middle, and there's no tier. It's just nice and flat. So
what kind of mechanisms do you work with?
Like line, you're talking like
like liner lockers. Yep.
A liner lock.
Yep.
So a liner lock and
frame lock,
usually,
liner. So the one that he's showing, if you don't know knives, that's a frame lock.
Yeah.
But do you just do frame locks, or you do a variety of them?
I do frame locks, liner locks. I've been toying around with a double detent knife. That way you'd have a detent keeping it closed, more for like almost like a slip joint like knife. So like a case knife. Instead of doing the spring, you'll have a double detent. And I think ZT has one out.
Okay.
Where when it's closed, it's on a detent, and then there's like two, it's confusing, but there's two detents.
Yep.
And when it's open, it'll hit the other detent.
Oh, okay.
So it kind of keeps it from closing on you.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So all your handle material, so you have models that you typically do. Do you do different blade shapes for those same models?
Yes. So blade shapes I do is sheep foot, which I do not. Do I have a sheep foot here? A drop point, a modified tanto, which is it's right here. So that's Damascus, and this is mammoth ivory.
Oof.
Yeah,
So that's mammoth ivory with like a backing, a titanium backing, or
it's a titanium liner, and then Zerk pocket clip and Zerk backspacer. With Zerk pivot collars. So someone's picking this up at Ryan's.
Yeah, what's the general cost on something like that?
$9.
What?
It's cheap, dude. I'm different than any other maker.
So if you're not a maker, the reason I asked them that, number one, I don't want to ever pigeonhole anyone on film on how much knives cost, because there's things that are worked out, there's that kind of stuff. But I asked him specifically because all those words that he was saying sound expensive.
Yeah, the Mammoth Ivory can run you around 150 for some Mammoth Ivory. The Zerk is pricey. You know that.
Yep. Yep.
The only thing is that's Alabama Damascus, so it's not like Chad Nichols XHP where those are a little bit more pricier. I've done full dresses like Mokatai,
Okay.
and you're talking big money there.
Yeah.
You know, but you know what? I just did a 3/4 dress and I had it for 1250.
So you have models, and then a slight variation
Mhm.
outside of those models in terms of materials,
Yeah.
in terms of blade shape.
Yeah.
But I'll assume working with the same models and just having a slight variation on either slide makes the process much easier
It,
and more streamlined.
yes. So because I have said models, right? And these scale shapes are cut out of tie.
Sure.
So either I could cut them on a bandsaw, waste my time, and now I do hand cut a lot of knives, but
Well,
this,
so hold on. So there's trepidation in his voice because we have this portion of the knife community that's really big sticklers on how things are cut out. I'm like,
yeah,
I mean, to me, and I don't want to say I'm a knife snob, but I just know a lot of know stuff.
yeah.
Does it matter if you waste an hour or two of your time, or if a laser, or if a water jet, or what's it called? What's it that starts with an E
Uh,
where they use a wire?
EMD,
EMD.
EDM,
If you use a monkey, I don't care who cuts it out.
yeah, yeah. Um, it doesn't matter because even if it's cut out, I still got shaping to do. I have grinding to do, and every knife is done. I mean, it's custom.
Yeah,
There's no two knives like each other.
there's
This is
no
not mid tech.
no. Well, and that's also up for debate too. I think that
Yeah,
you know
there is. There's a little.
it's that word mid tech is like no
Yeah,
one knows really what the definition of it is per
correct.
se. And everyone, like you heard, Paul is very, very nervous kind of being making sure that everyone knows exactly how things are cut out
Yeah,
or touched or anything. But
it,
listen, if someone, it doesn't matter how things are cut out because
it's not.
even completely custom cars,
Yeah,
not every little piece on that car, the guy's not making rubber tires.
correct.
You know what I mean? I think it's the design.
Yeah,
I think it's your grind. Most people are grinding a majority of it. They're
yeah.
finishing it up. They're putting it together. There's a lot of adjustment that goes into custom knives. I personally, I'm
Well,
not a
I'm the
stickler on
same
that.
way. So I look at it this way. There's a craft and skill in everything you look at.
Right.
So for the maker that does CNC knives, they CNC them. What's wrong with that? There's still a skill, there's still sweat and labor, and it's no faster than doing them by hand. I
Right.
mean, there's more money involved in it. I mean, there's a whole host of things. So I do sometimes CNC my scales for my folders.
Yep.
I have not CNC'd any blades. I do those all by hand.
Yep.
Yeah, it's tricky too. There's a big stink about do you do them by hand or do you use a jig? Well, yeah, there is. I
It's
mean, if
well
you're
that
using
even
the jig, it's not right.
well even
That's what they say. I don't have time to judge. I don't get into the drama of
no
EDC too
that
much. I
because
try to stay out of that.
that's such a small portion of the knife community, and ultimately from a consumer, just
Yeah,
like we talked about that connection stuff, I'm
yeah,
buying a knife and I'm buying a part of you.
yes, And
you know,
that's exactly it.
because
So
because I know it's, to me, I'm buying a part of you, and it's all the customizations
right.
that you're willing to do to that piece.
I mean, for a knife maker, the number one expendable item that you have in the shop, and you'll find out that it's the thing you spend the most money on right now, is belts.
Belt. Yeah.
Simple. I mean,
Yeah.
it's inevitable. I mean, you have to have belts or you're not making a knife. And they're not cheap. You're
So
talking 36 grit is like $15, $10, something like that.
what are your folders range in terms of the low end all the way? Like,
So
what's the most
so
expensive one you've ever made?
low end $500.
Okay.
Most expensive was 1850, something like that,
Okay.
1850.
Okay.
No, I mean, and that's not what I told them. That's what they felt they had to. And my hat goes off to that person. Now, I'm not going to mention his name, but he
What
felt that
do you do
he
all
knew it.
do you all do all your own what steels do you work with? That's the first question.
Anywhere I like ABL stainless is, I like it because for the end user, my customer, when they dull it, when they use it and get a dull, it's easy to sharpen.
Yeah.
There's
So
people out there that, I'm not a steel snob, and that the EDC community has a ton of, oh, this is S39V, it's like, all right.
and I think there's some people who are steel snobs and care about that to a maddening degree, and they don't actually even understand what they're caring about. I mean, because any of the crazy, really super tough that can hold an edge forever knives still has to be sharpened at some point. And good luck sharpening that at home.
D2 is a tough steel. I've worked with it. I've sharpened it, and I cussed it all the way through.
Yeah. I see. I love D2 1095. My friend, or my buddy Justin, works with Nitro V. I like
Nitro
simple.
V is awesome.
I like simple stuff.
Yeah, and it's great for like fillet knives because it has great spring. It doesn't bend.
So you work with a majority of AEBL or
ABL, CPM 154. I like a lot because I can usually do that in house.
So
the cryo process, because heat treat you heat treat it, you cryo it, and then you temper it. You don't get to see the tempering process on Forged in Fire. There's some people get lost on that sometimes.
Yeah. That's a whole other conversation. But you try to do all of your heat treating in house.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, I have an even heat kiln. ABL takes a minus 95 degrees, and it's not a long soak. You just need to get it to minus 95. So if you do a kerosene and dry ice slurry, it gets it down to about minus 100, 110, something like that.
That sounds dangerous.
No, it really isn't bad. I mean, kerosene's low, it's low.
Right,
it's
not
like
flammable.
diesel. So that allows me to do it in-house. Otherwise, I have to go get liquid nitrogen, and that's only good for a couple of days. So you have to batch all that stuff.
Gotcha.
You know
so
what I'm saying?
Do you have any other folders you can show us?
Oh yeah, man. Let me see here.
It's better to see them and then show them up on the screen.
So I know this was a little bit of a play on, we won't go there, but you can see what it says there. So if you notice, it's HD. I call this the high demands logo. Like it's got a anvil in the middle.
Yep.
So I'm sure somebody would get upset, and I'd probably get a cease and desist letter if they would ever see it. It's pushing that envelope a little bit.
Yeah.
And they're big. That company is big on sending those out.
Oh, nice.
Let me see. I got it. Yeah. You know what? All I got is the ones that I'm taking to Ryan's. I don't like it. Here's one. So this was actually, so if you look at this one, this is the alpha. You see the roundness.
Yep.
So this is the one I've been making for the past couple years now, 2 years. I got tired of it. And really, you have to start thinking about new designs as year round. That way, the people that already have one, oh, this is a new one. I like this. I like that shape. Otherwise, you're going to lose customers.
Yep.
You got people that want the new stuff. So this a little bit more play on some nice lines instead of roundness. Also
Nice.
added again, I'm not a big lanyard hole. Now I have before, and I'll share this because there's nothing I do that's a secret. So I actually like the sides here not drilled, and actually do a slot in here and drill the backspacer. So it's a hidden lanyard hole.
Oh, okay.
I just think sometimes the lanyard hole takes away from the sexiness of the knife, but that's, so
I like to have a lanyard hole on my folders to be able to put a piece of paracord through and
yeah,
be able to pull it out a
yeah.
little smoother.
Yeah. On shorter flippers, it gives you a little bit something extra that you can tuck into your hand and operate it.
Yeah.
You can get that back, where you're all crunched up on a smaller one because you're so if you have something back
show me
here,
that. Show me the new model. Where do you have a name for it?
So this is Chubb V2.
Okay.
I just did a V2. Again, play on the lines, the recurve. The blades I could play around all day long. I like that stuff. So like this one, this has a recurve. It's a compound grind. So you got a hollow grind there and a flat grind there.
Nice.
It's.
Do you use bearings and everything, or
ceramic bearings, ceramic detent? I tried the steel cage bearings. I didn't feel like they were as smooth, but it could have been me and when I started out. I need to revisit that a little bit. TI Connectors is actually coming out with a new bearing set. The thing is, it's about double the price, so you're looking at $20 a knife. So bearings cost you about $10, somewhere in there.
Yep.
It's when you look at that stuff, I want to give the best possible knife at the best possible price.
Sure.
Because even though it's a business and I still have to try to make money, but I have to be conscious of the community, and I don't want to. Well, he just uses these cheap parts. I use TI connector now for all my pivot screws. Steve over at TI Connectors, the owner, they're in Utah. Him and his wife are great people. They make
then again, I mean, you're talking into minutia that only a fraction of your customer base really
I know
knows or cares about.
Yeah, I know. I know, but that shouldn't.
No. It's good that you're thinking about that and you're kind of bringing it to the forefront. What about these? Let's talk about your fixed blades.
All right, so this one here.
Oh wait, hold on. Let me switch back.
So those are what I call stingers that you have on the screen right there.
Yep.
They were inspired by David Kelly. He produces one called the Little Bit, and I was down at Blade Show 2019. No, was it 19? Yeah, 19. And I went over. He was on Jim Coffey's table. Had some on there. He had 4. I was like, I'll take that one. I was like, it's no brainer. This is a fixed blade that has a little pocket sheath that can fit in your front pocket. I mean, to me, it's like.
So how big are these? But
These are,
you have those to show right in front of you,
yeah,
right? All
yeah.
right, let's see this.
So overall length, 5 inches. 5 inches. So the blade, probably about 1.5 inches.
It's 5
Yeah.
inches right there. Oh,
So you could put it in your back pocket. I mean, yeah, it's just, and who was it? One of the guys from Forged and Fire came by this year. Blew me away. I was actually out shopping with Jim and David on folding parts, but somebody watching and I can't, it's the guy with the big beard. He goes, I absolutely love that size and that feels great. And it does. It has a little notch for your pinky on the back.
yep.
So I have occasionally left this where it was exposed and I wedged it. That way you didn't even have to pull it out of the sheath to open tape on boxes.
Oh,
So it actually had like a little screwdriver type flathead there. These run for 185, long as they're
and what steel are those made out of?
ABL. I
ABL.
can use it. Yeah.
Nice.
But I've made them out of Damascus. I've made them out of, I haven't yet.
What about what's this one right here? Oh, let me pull it up. What's this one right here?
What material is that?
Yeah. Like
Oh, that's great.
not the steel
So that's
material, but with the handle.
There's 2 of them, that one and that blue one up diagonal from it. Both of those are crazy fiber. So that's made in Russia. If you look up crazy fiber, it's a type of micarta that is real fine thread, and somebody in Russia makes it.
Really?
At least that's what the World Wide Web said.
That's still awesome.
Yeah, it's
because I love
it
my
looks
Carta.
almost like coral. You know?
Yeah, that's what I would have thought it was.
Yeah. No, it's nice stuff. I like that. Fat carbon I've used before. Anything carbon fiber, it's nice to work with, but it's not nice to work with.
Yeah. What's your
It's like-
favorite? What's your favorite steel is AEBL?
Yeah. Well, yeah, that CPM 154.
And then what's your favorite handle material? Like you personally?
Spalted. Okay. So spalted maple.
Yeah.
Because if you look at my knives, and I try to do this with anything that has a design that flows from one side to the other, I book match it.
What do you mean?
And that means if there's a line going across one side, it separates from the tang and it follows through on the other side. So when you look down at it, you can see that it's matched up perfectly all the way around.
So you're saying on your
it's
handle
big
material, you want it to be, so you get bigger, do you get bigger blocks and just cut them down the middle?
Oh, I got one here. Hold on.
Instead of like matching them together?
So if you look at this is book matched. So what happens is when they have this, they cut this right in half.
Yep.
If you can see this right here, this goes from this side straight over. And if you would put it together, it's identical all the way across.
Ah, okay.
And it's big, and you'll see it a lot in wood making stuff.
Yep.
The woodcraft. And spalted maple is just, it's full of lines. It's beautiful. It's absolutely beautiful. And between that and Buckeye Burl, I love Buckeye Burl too. That's indigenous to mostly California. It's not from Ohio, even though we're Buckeye State. It's not Buckeye Burl.
And those are called the stingers.
Those little ones are called stingers, yes.
And then what are the other ones you're bringing? Are those?
So the one I just showed you. So the stinger and this one's are 2 best sellers right now. And this is the Bird and Trout. And the reason is it's stainless and you can keep it in your kitchen. You can use it as like a paring knife. You could put it in the boat. It's not going to rust. It's it's really made to cut through you could cut through the bones on a bird,
Yep.
but yet use it to flay out a fish.
What's the steel?
What do you think?
AEBL. Okay.
Yeah, buddy.
No. One of my favorite knives, Grit City Custom Knives, Joel. It's AEBL. It's one of the first like real custom knives that I like traded for off of someone that I traded away for some reason. I don't know why. Was AEBL, and I liked the durability in term. Well, we would call it resistance, but the staining, water resistance. I mean, but it was also easy to sharpen.
Oh yeah, it's easy to sharpen, and it's easy to work with.
If you use your knives,
and I hope you do, even if it's $1,000, $2,000, you should be using your knife.
I've got a problem with if it's on my. I have this I have a drawer for folders, and then you probably have as a knife maker would hate this, but it's they're magnetic strips.
Oh, to put the blades up.
I've got a bunch of them in my room, and if it's up there, unless it's something very specific and like someone bought it for me, but if it's a knife that I bought and I don't use it, I just get rid of it. I like trade it or I give it away.
So I do like this material too, and we haven't talked about it or touched on it. Damasteel.
Damasteel. I've heard good things. I've never owned a knife with Damasteel, but I've heard great things.
See that?
Oof.
So that I'll get one blade out of this. It's $200. I got this stuff at a blade show.
Oh, did you?
Here's another one, a little bit bigger.
Can you heat that treat at home? Treat that at your.
Yeah, I could do that here.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, I like that. I like. I love Alabama Damascus, and one of them, what is it? Bark River Forge out of Tennessee. They do copper clad, so you'll have Damascus, but you'll have copper line through it.
I've seen that. That's crazy.
I actually posted one. I took one to Blade Show, and it's on my page somewhere. It was a beautiful knife, and actually, who ended up with that? Wayne Dougal. I did a lotto on it, and he had like 15 people go in for him. And what was funny is he was actually the name I drew. He didn't need all 15 people. It was him. He wanted that bad. He loved it. If you haven't met Wayne, he's a character, man.
I've heard good things about him. Where is the let's see if we can find it.
It'd be, but you could probably do a search on Blade Show and it might come up.
Was it a fixed or a folder?
It was a folder, and I did Curly Koa. It was a liner lock, so it was a flipper. I did liner lock ties. Oh, let's see. Should be in that area.
I'm in your group, so.
Okay, go down.
I think I'm in your group.
You should. It's like a black blade. Keep going. Oh, there's a cart we took. Should be around here somewhere.
Oh,
you see it? That's it. Is that beautiful stuff or what?
Can you feel that?
Yeah, you can. You can feel it, but remember that's a San Mai. So the 80 CRV is the center, and then it's got Damascus on top with a layer of copper in between and he guarantees it. He hasn't had any delaminations or anything.
He uses it.
Yeah. I don't know if Wayne uses it, but he definitely. So I did that with that. It just went together really well. The Koa with the copper on the blade, and then I did copper pivot collars.
That's awesome.
Yeah, that was a nice knife, and that one went for like $9.25.
I feel like this is the knife you should be bringing this weekend.
Says Wayne, I think Wayne's going to be there.
Oh, is he? He'll bring it.
Yeah, I think he's coming in for it. So, that was a fun knife. So that's Jim Coffey also does stabilized wood. He owns Little Woodies, and that Koa was his. And I bronzed, so I anode the liners bronze.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so that way it kind of bring in all the colors together, and you could see the copper going through the flipper too. You could see
That's
that line
awesome.
of copper. Oh, I also, on stuff I don't Cerakote, on knives I don't Cerakote, the flippers, you could go back and see where I jewel the inside of the tie. Oh, so there's something that I always do. If there's, see the jewelling there, just
Yeah,
right
this one.
there. You could see it in the line inside. You could
This.
see the swirls. Yeah.
Yep. Yep.
So if I don't do a finish on it like Cerakote, I'll jewel it. All my knives, I also do. I do floating backspacers. That's normal. I got to thin down the backspacer anyways, and it's floated. You know.
It sounds like you really enjoy this kind of stuff.
You know,
And,
if
and
I'm buying, I want my customer one to say that I actually have this maker in this knife because he sent me updates. He showed me, he let me call things out. And you know what? At the end of the day, you don't get to call everything out because when you open it, I want you to be surprised. Now I take a risk of them not liking what I did, but it's usually something little and subtle. And they're like, man, this is awesome. I don't know. I don't know. It's just the way I was brought up, I guess.
no, I love it. I think it's awesome. So I'm a potential customer. I just watched this Meet the Maker. I'm sold on you. I loved everything that I saw. What's the next step? Where do I go? Who do I talk to purchase a knife from you?
Hey, message me. I don't
Message
care
you?
if I'm on the lake. I answer my text.
Okay.
That's one thing. I don't want to be that maker. Hey, leave me alone. I'm on vacation.
Yeah. I think it's one of those things that it almost does it. There's things that makers or small business owners in general say that they don't even need to say. Like, as a
Yeah.
potential customer, you don't need to know that I just went to my, who knows, my friends would say I vacation every weekend, but my third vacation in July. Like, no one needs to know that. Like,
Yeah.
I don't post that
Yeah.
stuff on social
I
media
don't
anyways, but
either. I don't either. And it was so funny. The guy that got the mammoth tooth flipper, he texts me, and he's a customer, so and a friend. He texts me, and I was like, he's like, is that mammoth tooth still available? I set the fishing pole down because I'm on a guy's fishing trip for a week. And I said, yeah, it's still available. And he goes, all right, I'll take it. And I was like, it's yours. It was yours anyways. I knew you wanted it in the first place. I hadn't posted it up anymore. I brought it back from Blade. I knew he wanted it. So I said, man, I'm on the lake. He goes, oh, I'm sorry. No, don't apologize. I'm just letting you know. I'll get it out of town. I'll get it in the mail. He goes, no, just bring it to Ryan's. I was like, okay.
nice.
So
Nice.
that's one thing I always want to say. Reach out to me. I have some great admins too. They can be hit up and they'll always yell at me. But I want to be that approachable person that, yeah, I know no strangers. So that's my
No,
downfall.
I mean, I like you even more now.
I'm sorry.
Well, it's one of the things that I get to do now is I get to meet and really get to know. And I
Yes.
hope this is what this does for those that are on the fence about a maker, that they kind of just push them over and are like, okay, now I've got my next 10 custom knives laid out.
Yeah.
Or I was about to buy a knife from that guy and he's a dick.
I can tell you, I send a message to everybody that sends me payment, and someone just did. Here, I'll send them a message, and I've told that person before, and I tell every one of them. It's very humbling knowing how many makers are out there and how hard people work for their money when they selected me that they wanted a knife from.
Sure.
And I don't care if it's a prison shank or a $2,000 folder. It means something to me, and it allows the lights to stay on. And behind the scenes, it keeps it open for that way I could have the blue skies in here, and I do it anyways. So,
yep.
But all that stuff rolled up into that is awesome. And
so
also,
they get in touch with you.
Yep.
And then they want one of the folders. What's the process?
So I don't do books. I do. So I'll do no more than 10 of my books. Right now, I have maybe 2.
Okay.
It limits you as a maker when you do nothing but books. I mean, there's people that do books and you never hear from them.
Yep.
So I don't want to do that. I don't want this to be, and I did this mistake one time. I did a friction folder. I sold 50. 50. And I gave the option, 3 options on scales. I gave an option on finish. And I had trays stacked up, and it was a job then. I dreaded coming into, I appreciate people wanting one. It allowed me to get a surface grinder and other things.
But in terms of being a maker and wanting to actually enjoy it, I mean, you enjoyed making them, you just didn't enjoy it as much as taking different ones.
Correct.
So do you take a deposit or?
So this is the tricky spot, right? If there's someone that's friends with you that I know, I usually don't take a deposit. And if you bought a knife from me before, I don't take a deposit. Because I could usually probably sell it anyways, unless it is exotics. And then you're gonna put some money down. Otherwise, you know how that is.
Yeah.
When the maker's got to spend $400 or $500 in getting pieces for the knife build. So yeah, I know you touched on this earlier about Ryan's meet and greet. So I actually do an open house. This will be my 5th one or 6th one. 5th.
What the hell is up with all you makers in Ohio doing these cool events?
So what happened was right before I started making knives, I went down to Cleveland, Tennessee for John Graham Knives Bash. He calls it the Bash. And it was as a person that was a collector, to be able to go in somebody's shop to see where stuff is made, where it's like Willy Wonka in the chocolate factory for me, except no chocolate, but I get to go in, get to see what's made, where it's made. I get to sit there, talk to the maker, and there's other makers there, that's part of the fun. This communities can be is one of the best communities out there.
Sure.
The knife makers, there's a lot of great knife makers out there. A lot of great knife makers. There's a lot of great collectors.
So
It's
so
crazy.
when's your bash? When's your thing?
October 2nd. It's the first Saturday in October always. And what happens? I open up the doors. I usually have some door prizes. Okay. We have food provided.
I got an empty weekend.
I got food. We provide food.
Can I sleep on the floor in your shop?
Huh?
Can I sleep on the floor in your shop?
Dude, we'll get you. I got a pop-up camper and back.
Oh, do you?
Yeah. We actually went out camping this weekend, which was kind of fun because I've been spending a lot of hours in the shop and I needed to unwind.
So what do you guys do? Just hang out and trade?
Yep. You got collectors buying. You got knife makers buying from other knife makers. It's And it's just a day. We had one year we had fire dancers come in the evening. I think we're trying to look and see if there's a guy that plays acoustic, does covers and plays acoustical guitar, and see if he'll show up and play for 2 or 3 hours.
Does it cost?
No.
Just come hang out.
Yep. Bring your drink of choice. It's a family, and I always tell this to people. It's family oriented. So if you would be embarrassed to do it in front of your mother, don't do it at my shop.
I like it.
Yeah, I want everybody that comes to feel comfortable.
What's the nearest airport?
Dayton Airport.
My
It's
wife
like-
has a fond place in her heart for Dayton, Ohio, because she was in drum corps.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
that's where they
do the
do
drumline thing. Yeah,
they
she
do
did
their thing.
Yeah, they have a big competition here every year.
Yep.
That's too funny. The world is so small when you start talking to people.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
Dayton.
So
I'll have to look that up. What's a flight from Tampa to Dayton?
you get there, I'll pick you up. So that's not a problem. I know people will be coming in Friday. Chris, the earlies will be in here. Coffee's coming in. Kelly's coming up from Tennessee. There's a whole host. There's a flyer on the page somewhere for the open house. So there's a list of makers, and actually Casey Middleton from Old Dominion's coming in from Richmond. Steve Presley from Dead Crow, and Dax Wise from Tattoo Design that does pens, all kinds of stuff. It's just a big family.
Oh, Dax is going to be there?
Yeah.
Nice.
Yep. Dax and Steve was just in not too long ago. Maybe a week.
You better watch out. He's going to start making knives. Dax is going to start making knives.
That would be cool because he is bringing up. I did a little barter, and I know I'm old school, so I barter is something that, you have something I want, I have something you want, let's do it. So
I love barter and trade, man. I love it.
We did a little trade. He's bringing up an X carve that a CNC router that he's never used, and he got a full dress, and I took care of him on another proto. So he got my front flipper Burden trout. So
nice.
yeah, it's if you can make it, you're welcome, dude.
So tell me where
interview.
Huh?
You could run around interviewing people.
I know. It'll be like it's gonna be like Blade next year. I'm just gonna have it all over.
Oh, Brent Piccaro's coming in too from
Brent is?
Yeah.
He didn't tell me that.
Yeah, I believe
I
he
talked
is.
to him on the phone the other night. He didn't say anything about that.
He's a good boy. So when I first met Brent was flying to Blade.
Yep.
He's like, man, I can't take my knives, and it's gonna cost me a ton to send it. I was like, so will you meet me in Pittsburgh? So I took a Saturday, me and my son drove out, met him. Who else was there? Forbes might have been there. I think he was. And we had lunch. I picked up his knives and I transported them down to him.
Oh, that's awesome.
That's what makes this group special.
Yeah, it is.
I didn't know Brent that much. I just knew he needed assistance, and I was headed that way.
Man, when I met Brent the first time, he was like a young buck. He was a young buck. I'll never forget. He had the heaviest knife I've ever held in my life. It had copper scales on it.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And that thing, like, I felt like it weighed 20 pounds.
That sounds like something Forbes would do.
Yeah. Oh yeah. So tell me where Kilby Knives goes from here. Like, where are you headed in the future?
Dude, that's the biggest question. I ask that all the time. Do I want that? Do I want to do something with Riot? Do I ever want to do that? I've been approached by Arizona Knives. They do the sales for the problem I have with doing Arizona and knife ship free and this and that is it's not the percentage I have to take off the price, right? They usually want a 30% or 40% drop sometimes, right?
Sure.
Which I understand. But I know there's people in my group that they may, if I gave anybody a 40% drop, I'd love to give someone that's in my community that hasn't been able to get a Kilby. That's the way I look at it.
Yeah.
I'd rather bring it back with me and sit on it for a while. And
so in terms of knives and selling knives, I mean, like, this is what you're doing. This is where we're going with it. And, it's full, like, we're going to be full-time knife maker for the foreseeable future, or.
I mean, I got a lot of knives I'm sending out right now. It's definitely been busy, and I have some knives to make for people.
What's your wait time?
Oh, dude. There's a guy picking up this orange one today. As soon as I get through Ryan's, my longest wait will be probably getting his Cerakoted for him.
Okay.
My next show is November. I'm going to New York City custom knife show in Nashville.
In Tennessee.
But you know what? I don't think I would attend, and I have to admit, one, it's, NY is actually, that show is more expensive than USN Gathering in Vegas.
Okay.
For a table.
Yeah.
It's more expensive than so Blade's cheaper than USN.
Yep.
So Blade's like $550 for the table.
Yep.
USN's 700?
Okay.
$750. New York's $800 for a table. That seems a little bit pricey. I understand last year they got to make up for lost time, right? There's bills. It's just like Blade Show, that Blade magazine. They put out a ton of money. They didn't have their big income is Blade Show.
Yep.
I mean, they were hurting. So if they didn't get to have it this year, there might not be a Blade Show.
Yeah, true.
So,
that beat them up.
I mean, they got to pay their employees. So I don't know. So here's the shows I do. I do Blade. I love Blade. Yeah, it wears me out, but I love Blade. I do. I'm doing for the first time New York in November 19th and 20th.
Okay.
And then Kentucky.
What's Kentucky?
Kentucky Custom Knife Show.
Okay.
Were you there?
Nope.
Huh. I swore I saw you there.
I thought about going, but I've never made it.
It's a small group. It's 30 people. We show in the lobby and in a banquet hall a little bit. They only sell 300 tickets to get into it. It's Saturday night, 6 p.m. to 10 p.m. It's not about the knives. It's about getting together. That's what it really is. I mean, Rob Baptiste comes in from Merced. Usually the school's out at that time due to something. So him and Andrea comes in. Almost all the admins are there. Ricky Lopez isn't there, and Brandon Hong isn't usually there, but everybody else, Ben Ho, Fellholter's there. I mean, Burnley's there. Swan's there. I mean, for such a small group, and I got lucky landing in there.
How did you? Is it hard to get a table?
It's 30 people. It's booked. There's a waiting list. So I think, who is it? They just added a couple new ones. Eric Luther's going to be there. So he's going to be there. And there's one other maker that they added, I think. And usually they don't add. Usually somebody couldn't make it. So
Gotcha.
And that's how I got in. Someone couldn't make it. They hit me up in November and said, hey, we got a table open. Do you want it? Can you have some knives ready? I was like, yeah.
Yeah, even if I don't, I'm going to go. I'm going to sleep at the shop.
So, And then I do a March show in Troy, Ohio. It's called Spirit of the Blade. It's growing like crazy. It's a good little show.
Nice.
But that 4 shows, I think that's all I want to do. I'd love to if backfill if I don't continue on the New York one. I hear there's one in New Orleans, or they're going to start one up.
Oh, okay.
So I don't know.
What do we have to look forward to with Kilby Knives? I know that you bought the building.
Yep.
Are we going to see some collabs, some knife flashlight combos, or? Oh, you froze. Let's see. It's not on my side. Oh, you there?
Gene.
Yeah, I'm here now.
All right, there you are.
Good.
I lost something on my end. I saw a lost connection. That's why I held up.
That's okay. So you bought the building.
Yep.
Are we going to see some like combo sets?
Like,
because Yellow Day Energy makes primarily flashlights.
Flashlights and spinners or
Okay.
fidget spinners.
Yep.
And he does beads. God, I miss him. He needs to get down here. This has been, I mean, we closed in March of not this year, last year.
Oh, okay.
Or June.
Yeah.
So we've been closed. He just can't get down here due to COVID restrictions.
Yeah.
So unfortunate, but it's the way it is. Hopefully, if everybody says a prayer, August 21st, or send smoke, and states will allow Canadians into the United States. So we'll see.
Are we going to see some combo sets or some new stuff? Yeah.
Yeah, I think I may be helping Chris a little bit. We work well together.
Good.
Otherwise, we wouldn't be in business together. He's a kid. I call him a kid because he could be my kid. But he's very, and he'll kill me for saying this because I don't like it. He don't like it, but I mean it as a compliment. He's very business oriented. His mindset. He's made millions and been back down, and he's made millions again. So he's hung around there and doing things. So I hope his knowledge and experience rubs off on me, and I hope some of mine rubs off on him, and I'm sure it will.
Sure.
I think I know he wants to get into knives, which wouldn't be a conflict or anything because our groups are totally different, but we also help each other on group wise. So collabs are always nice. We just did one for KM. Me and Kirk Mayberry just did one. He posted up a video on the page, KM Design.
Nice.
So yeah, I'm always up for the thing is I like collabs. I love to do them. I don't like to ask. So I don't know.
So if you want to do a collaboration, he's not going to ask you. You need to hit him up.
Yeah, that wasn't an invitation, but yeah. But you know what I'm saying? I don't want to be that guy that people look at and say, wow, he's chasing, he just asked this guy because they got more people or whatever. Me and Ryan did one. We raised money for autism.
I did. I saw that one.
That thing was beast. And to do, again, I like mammoth. I love mammoth ivory. Now, you could be walking it in your hand across the shop and it fall apart. It's just, it's 40,000 years old. What do you think it may do?
Yeah, true.
So I love doing collabs. Also, I want it to be a collab. That way you can see both
collaboration.
Makers,
see a little bit of both of you in it.
Yeah. And Ryan, I don't think Ryan would have put mammoth on anything. And then, I backed it with titanium, and it was fun. It was something I enjoyed. Me and Ryan are buds. I can't say enough about them. He's like a brother to me.
Have you taught him?
He's the ugly brother.
Have you taught him folders?
No, it'll come. I think it'll come. He came down and spent a couple days in the shop, and that's the thing. There's the only way we get better, and the only way I get better is being open about bringing people in.
Sure.
And you may be showing them stuff, but you're learning at the same time. And I always say, if you don't come in here and learn something once a day, you just wasted life. There's I don't know everything in here. There's no way you could look at my knives and say, yeah, he don't know anything. No, I love to have fun. I love to joke around, but man, it's my name's on a knife,
That's awesome, man.
And I have a community, and there's people that want to spend money on me. So if I don't get better and strive to get better and offer different things, that's on me. Yeah. So I should be. You have to take time. Who was it? Jason Loomer from Luma Knives. He just posted up. He spent a day yesterday on CAD. You have to do that. You have to break away from making. I don't know. You pick up a drawing sketch pad, draw a new one.
Something,
even if it's not CAD.
Yeah, you gotta keep progressing and keep moving forward. I think that's what makes the difference between people like yourself and people like Dustin Driver and other makers.
Dustin's a good dude too.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Well, so how can people get in touch with you? I'll have all the links below. Yeah. But how can people get in touch with you?
I have an email, which will be kilbyknives@gmail.com. Messenger. They can message me on IG. I have Kilby Knives on IG. I don't post a lot there. I need to get better at that. That's one thing. You've talked to me before. You gave me all the hashtags and stuff. Dude, that was awesome. And I saw my community growing there. It's just
you have to, and I struggle with it sometimes. You have to make a schedule.
Yes. Yep.
This is what I do at this time. This is what I do at this time. This is what I do at this time, and do it like that every single day. Yep. So
it's like on my Tormach out there, my CNC, I got a magnetic grease sheet and stuck. I don't need to see what names on the machine, but I can put notes down. I need to do the same thing to the cabinet that I have sitting right in front of the door and say, today, do this. Yep. Do this, do this. Make sure you do these 3 things. Well, otherwise, it gets pushed to the back burner constantly.
Yeah. Oh, well, there's always more to do, especially when you're a business owner.
Yeah.
But are there any closing thoughts or anything you want people to know about you before we leave? And like I said, I'll have all of the links below, and they'll be able to get in contact with you and check you out.
The main thing, I'm very humbled. One, I'm humbled that you would even want to do this with me. And 2, that people will even watch it, right?
Heck yeah.
And that's amazing. You do a lot for EDC land. I've told you that before. And it's just not for the makers. I mean, people's like, oh, this promotes. No, it's for the collector too. This gets the collector to look at different things.
I've always wanted to help the cream rise to the top, because the more I prop up, not just guys that I like am friends with or have known for years, but like the more I prop up quality, and even if I don't know someone and I interview them, I think you can tell within an hour interview how quality of a person someone actually is. If you want to spend your money $100, $200, $1,000, $2,000, $5,000 with someone who just isn't a good person, who doesn't really care. I don't. If you do, go ahead. I want to vote with my dollars, and I want to make sure that people, So I appreciate your time today, man. Thank you so much, brother.
Hey, you need me anytime, just yell. You know that. You end up coming up in October, I'll pick you up.
Oh, all
Oh,
right, all right.
Cincinnati too. It may be cheaper to drive for you to fly into Cincinnati.
Well,
And it's only an hour drive.
I got to negotiate that with the wife because I'm supposed to be going up to Elsie Dunwoody, up to his property again last year. Cause I went up to there. He was right outside of Columbus in Trenton, Ohio. And
Yeah.
I went hunting. And this year I'm going to go up there for bow season.
Oh, cool.
So that's why I was looking at my schedule. I don't know. I'll have to look at that. But hey, man, thank you so much for the invite.
Hey,
I appreciate it, brother.
So I did. I originally had it that last Saturday in September, but a lot of people wouldn't come because it was opening bow season.
Yeah. So that's probably what it'll be.
Dude, if you even come in for that and you got a spare minute, you want to hook up for dinner or something, rather than you can come in for the open house, yell at me.
Awesome.
I'd love to sit down, and we would probably, we've been on here for about 2 hours. I knew it was going to be long because I don't know. I love to talk. I love making knives, and I love to talk about it.
Hell yeah, man.
So,
thank you so much, brother.
All right, brother. Peace. Thanks, everybody.
Take care, man.